So welcome again for those of you who just joined us or for those of you who have been on. My name is Lisa Antflick. I'm one of the consultants at Expedia Cruises, and we're so excited to have our annual World Explorer event. And we have promotions with many of the different cruise lines and land suppliers going for the full month of October. And we have our presentations from some of our preferred suppliers today as well as tomorrow. It's been a long time since we've traveled, and I think you guys have missed it as much as I have. Just to let you know, cruising is probably the safest way to travel. The health protocols, the fact that all staff are vaccinated on board, it just makes it a wonderful, as Tom was talking earlier in the Seaboard presentation about having this bubble. So cruise lines are following the highest protocols. We have cruise ships back in the waters now, so things are ready to go. If you are feeling comfortable to travel, that is great. We're happy to help you. If you are not quite feeling comfortable yet, it is the time to plan ahead, and we can plan all the way into 2024 with some of the cruise lines. So just want to point out to you more and more why you need to book with a travel agent. We spent the first few months when lockdown started is bringing our clients back, people who are stuck over abroad. And we spent hours and hours trying to reaccommodate them, get them home, work helping them get their refunds, their future travel credits. So it is really important not to do things on your own. There's lots of things we can do on our own, but why not book with a travel advisor? What you'll get when you work with an Expedia travel advisor is expertise. There are hundreds of different cruise ships and lines, and we can find the best cruise for you because it is not a one size fits all. You will never pay any less booking directly with the cruise line. And many times we have better pricing, as well as on many of our blocked space staterooms and sailings, we can give you extras such as shipboard credits that booking directly with the cruise line you will not receive. Information regarding passports, visa, entry requirements, COVID testing, and vaccine protocols. All of this is changing, and it's hard to keep up to date, but our staff at Expedia Cruises has the utmost information and will know what you need for your specific travels. We are here to assist you in any emergencies or if there are any problems, and how wonderful to be able to have one person plan everything. We are Expedia Cruises Air, Land, and Sea Vacation. So we can take care of your air, we can take care of your transfers, your hotel packages, your activities, your travel insurance. Everything can be taken care of by one person. And best of all, we are in your neighborhood, so you can shop local. So without further ado, we're going to switch hats and we're going to go over to Alaska. And welcome back, Tom.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Hello again. It's deja vu all over again. How are you doing? I'm so glad to be back. It's been a while. For those of you who have just joined, I was on just a few minutes ago, so I'm going to be now covering Holland America. I was talking about Seabourn before. As I mentioned, I do wear two hats, and this is my bigger hat, because Holland America is the big sister to Seabourn. So this is my big hat that I'm wearing now. And we're going to talk all about Alaska and a few other bits and pieces to round off the morning. So let's go ahead and get started and move into some Alaska and Holland America information. But before we do so, as I just did with Seabourn, and as some of you may have heard me before, I'm going to just give you a quick update on the status of our return to sail protocols, because believe it or not, by the end of this year, we will have six ships sailing, which is incredible. If you consider where we started, 18 months ago, it's just so exciting to have the almost half the fleet back, and then by the end of spring we'll have the entire fleet sailing. So as we ramp up and we roll out our return to service, we are implementing our travel well protocols, and we're working with the CDC, the WHO, ports, maritime authorities, nations, the world's leading cruise lines association, to be in lockstep to make sure we are implementing the latest protocols, because our guest and crew safety is, and our environmental commitment they are the three most important factors in everything we do. So you can always find information on what we're doing when it comes to our health and safety guidelines. It's on the Holland America website, but a better place to get this is to reach out to your Expedia Cruises consultant, because it does get updated. Currently, the protocols we share really only apply to sailings in the next 4 months, but you may see them change even during the course of those 4 months as we make updates. But if you're sailing, planning to sail a year from now, you can take these with a slight grain of salt to just know that there will be changes along the way. But this gives you a great idea, so you know exactly what we're doing now. And if you are planning on sailing very soon and you are ready to get out there, I know many of you are starting to plan to sail in the spring, to sail even before the end of the year. We've got great assurances where if you had to cancel up to 30 days, you get a future cruise credit. Or if your trip was interrupted, or even shortly before you plan to sail due to some COVID complications, there's also a coverage and assurances for you. So for more information on that, reach out to your Expedia Cruises consultant. So let's talk about Holland America in Alaska. Now, hopefully some of you joined for our Holland America session last week, where we talked all about Holland America exotic sailings, going to the far reaches of the earth, because we have a global footprint. We're going to bring it back closer to home, to Alaska today. And I know many of you online have cruised with Holland America before, some in Alaska. Some of you haven't cruised, some of you may have once or twice, but there have been many changes. So I'm gonna, or not changes, we're still true to our roots, I should say, but some new initiatives and new programs. So I'm gonna, again, if you were with us last week, you may have heard these, but I'm gonna touch on some of the aspects that makes Holland America, just for those of you who are new with us today. We are a global cruise line in terms of our reach and deployment. Our ships are uncrowded. We have larger staterooms, on average 25% larger than other premium cruise lines. We don't have water slides and go-karts. Sorry if you're planning to get on board a Holland America ship and whiz around in a go-kart. We aren't going to be able to offer that. There are other lines that do, which are fantastic, but we find there's a lot of folks who are coming from those type of cruise lines and kind of been there, done that, looking for more space in their stateroom, public areas that are more spacious without the crowds. That's one of the reasons folks find us. So I'm going to just highlight a few of those aspects of the Holland America experience. The size is very important. You saw at the beginning, I mentioned perfectly sized. You may sometimes think of Holland America as mid-sized. We're not mid-sized officially anymore, because mid-sized means something much bigger. A lot of cruise lines that were mid-sized now have maybe 1,000 more guests on board their ships than we do. So that's why we say perfectly sized. We're kind of out there on our own. We're not a teeny tiny ship, but we can fit 2.5 times over out into those mega ships that you see out there. And that's considering our largest vessels in our fleet. It's the look and the feel of a Holland America line ship, that kind of classic with a modern twist, the dark blue hulls, the nautical lines, the wraparound teak decks, the open deck space. There's something that just looks right about Holland America ship. It's the feel that appeals to so many cruisers. We appeal to cruisers that are coming from all corners of the cruising world. There's something for everyone on board a Holland America line ship. It's one of those cruise lines where if you were to just do a survey or a poll of all cruisers on all lines and find out kind of the commonality, a line that they've all experienced and they all have a soft spot for, you would usually find Holland America in there, because it appeals to so many types of travelers for so many different reasons. When I mentioned explorers, or you saw the word explorers at the beginning, what we mean by this is we have a depth and breadth that other cruise lines don't have. I mentioned this the other day, but it is key, because it means in the Mediterranean, for example, or in South America or Asia, we have not just a number of sailings, but a large number of sailings that give a lot of variety. So you can not only find lots of dates for one particular itinerary, but you'll find lots of different itineraries. That ability to have the variety and so many options when it comes to sail dates, that isn't that common in the industry. So a great way for you to keep coming back, discover something new every time, and we've been doing it a long time. Next year, we've got a really big birthday, 150 years. So this isn't our first rodeo, you know, it's our 150th rodeo next year. So we're pretty good at this. Foodies, we've been a cruise line for foodies for years. We've got the classic dining room experience with different menus every day. We've got alternate options. We don't force you into having to eat in an alternate dining room every day because the main dining room is the same every day. We've got the perfect balance. That classic experience, if you want it open or fixed seating, with those specialty venues as well. And then music is a big part of what we do. It's going to be a real fun summer in Alaska, because I'm going to mention in just a moment a ship that we've got coming to Alaska next summer has all four. The first time we've had all four of our music walk venues on a ship in Alaska. Essentially, music walk is something we did a few years ago. We decided to completely rip up the page for music on cruise ships and start again. And we decided, instead of having lounge hopping musicians, to have dedicated professional musicians in each of these purpose-built venues. BB King's Blues Club. This is the BB King's all-star band. They're an 8 to 10 piece band, incredible band that get the crowd on their feet. And when you might think BB King's, well, you know, you associate BB King with kind of Motown, you know, era, maybe kind of going back into kind of rock and roll era. If you're not aware, BB King's Blues Club itself is an incredibly popular spot with pop stars today. I'm not sure if you saw that viral clip of Justin Timberlake jumping up on stage and just jamming live in BB King's Blues Club. That was about a year or so ago. It attracts all those kind of top musicians. It's kind of a rite of passage for many musicians to go there and jam there. That's where our musicians come from, BB King's Blues Club. They are keeping the crowd on their feet every night, whether it's Chuck Berry, Bruno Mars, Beyonce, hits of today, something for every generation. Billboard on board is dueling pianos. This is not just a tiny piano bar. Twice the fun, twice the laughs, twice the sing-along, show tunes. You know, everything from Queen to ABBA to, you know, hits of today, the latest, you know, Billboard hit, whatever it is, something for everyone. Lincoln Center Stage, there are classics, our classical ensemble, classical fusion, one of my favorites. I'm not a classical expert, but I just love to start my evenings by visiting Lincoln Center Stage. And then we've got Rolling Stone Rock Room on our Koningsdam that's coming to Alaska. And our ships are back in service now, which means our crew, our fabulous crew, after months and months and months and months sitting and waiting, now back on board. I'm seeing the videos. They are over the moon. There's smiles on their faces. For those of you who cruise Holland America, you know that they are the backbone of everything we do. They're the ones that ensure that we win awards for service year in and year out, winning hearts and minds, putting smiles on everyone's face. And so they are back out there on board ship, which is awesome. So they're getting back to what they do best on the damn fleet. And that is 11 ships in the damn fleet. So we're going to talk about Alaska, and I'm going to talk about a type of ship called the Pinnacle Class. This is a ship, a type class of ship where we have a new sister joining. I must mention this because it's big news, because we have, what day is it today? The 5th, the 6th? Sorry, I've drawn a blank. But anyway, that means we've got about 14 days before this vessel, the Rotterdam, sets sail on her first ever sailing. This is pretty important because she becomes our flagship. She is the 85th ship to sail under the Holland America line flag. She is the 7th ship named Rotterdam, and she joins the fleet in 14 days officially. So we're super excited, and she'll be sailing in Europe. So if you are looking, and we're not going to talk about Europe at all today, but if you are interested in that, you want to sail with her in Europe next year, she's in the Caribbean this winter, Europe next summer, reach out to your Expedia Cruises team. They will let you know all about her sailings. She is the 3rd of our Pinnacle Class ships. She's sailing all over Northern Europe, doing some kind of a rock star tour. So anyway, she's a Pinnacle Class ship, one of the 3 Pinnacle Class ships. They are less than 100,000 tons. They only have 2,600 guests. There are other cruise lines that will put an extra 400 on board, 500, 600 on board that size of ship. We don't do that. Anyway, the Pinnacle Class ships are gorgeous Holland America ships through and through. I've met mariners on several occasions at shows. You know, this is pre us having to go into this virtual world, meet them in kind of physical events. And, you know, I've spoken to them about these new Pinnacle Class ships, and I've asked them what they think, considering they've been sailing with us for 10, 20, 30 years in some cases. And I remember the first time I asked one of our mariners about these Pinnacle Class ships. It was the Koningsdam, in fact. I said, so, you know, having sailed on all the other ships, what do you think? Because they're our mariners. They've sailed for hundreds of days with us. And this is the response I've had every time. And I remember the very first time I asked this question, the answer I got was, I loved her. I'm booked on her another 4 times and booked on her sister's inaugural, the new Staten Dam. So we know that we've got new folks finding Holland America because of these gorgeous new Pinnacle Class ships, and we've got our mariners who love Holland America welcoming them into the fleet with open arms. So there she is. She's sailing as of in 2 weeks' time. So let's look at Alaska. We are Alaska. We've been going there since, well, for over 70 years, since before Alaska was even a state. That's just on land. We win awards year in, year out. We are known as the tried and trusted operator that delivers iconic and authentic Alaskan experiences. It's no accident. You know, this is something that we take very seriously. That's why we get those ratings. It's the programming on board ship. It's the itineraries themselves. It's the fact we have such a large fleet dedicated to the region, sailing out of Vancouver and Seattle. And when it comes to the land portions, we have access to the Yukon, which many cruise lines do not. We have twice the amount of permits than any other cruise line. What does that mean for you? Permits isn't a very cool word to talk about. Hey, we've got permits. What that means is, it means we can spend, well, not just twice the amount of time, more time. We can visit the Glacier Bay more often, and we can spend more time than other cruise lines. So that means we'll give you a full day in Glacier Bay with multiple glacier viewing opportunities to see brown bears and other wildlife throughout the whole day, narrated by park rangers. Now, compare that to other cruise lines that don't have the same permitting. They can only spend maybe an hour or 2 at one glacier, at the Marjorie Glacier, then back out into the Gulf. Now, if you think of that in terms of value, you're spending a certain dollar amount per day to be on board a ship. When you break it down, you're spending a certain dollar amount per hour to be on board ship. So time is money, and we understand that. We want to give you the best value for, you know, best bang for your buck. So if your ship is just out there for the rest of the day bobbing around in the Gulf of Alaska, that's not value. If they've spent only 2 hours at Glacier Bay, then you're out in the Gulf again. That's not value. We spend the full day in Glacier Bay, so more experience to immerse yourself in Alaska. And we open the bow. We have those open deck spaces. You don't have to climb over a crane or peer around a go-kart track or a roller coaster. Open deck spaces with our you know, our classic Dutch pea soup, if you want to try our hot chocolate, you know, our blankets, or you can take one of our cabanas, which is also in Glacier Bay as well. But we have this open deck space that you don't typically find on the average cruise line sailing to Alaska. That is something to remember when you're deciding who to cruise to Alaska with. What's it going to be like when you're in Glacier Bay? Is it going to be a free-for-all, trying to squeeze your head over a railing or hold a spot? It's not that way at all with Holland America. So the big news is, and some of you may be aware of this, and that's why our little friend here is getting excited and giving us a big round of applause. The big news is, one of those Pinnacle Class ships that I mentioned earlier is coming to Alaska. You may have heard me mention this before, the Koningsdam, the Rotterdam Sister, one of these Pinnacle Class ships. She debuts in Vancouver. She becomes our Saturday ship. She sails under the Lionsgate Bridge. She's not one of those mega ships that has to wait for a low tide to come in once or twice a year. She's a Saturday ship, in and out, sailing up to Alaska with that Glacier Bay aspect. Also, when we visit Juneau, we're docked downtown in berths 1 and 2. Every weekend departure, guaranteed, we're berths 1 and 2. Weekday departures, 95% of the time too. We're docked downtown. First two ports. Koningsdam's our Saturday ship, so she's there every time, berths 1 and 2. That means you can literally step off the ship, walk into the town of Juneau. The square is right there. Your steps into town, everything. The Mount Roberts tramway, the cafes, the shopping, the bars, you know, Red Dog Saloon, all there. If you're on another cruise line that's docked in berth 3 or 4, that's a 20-minute walk or a taxi, or worse still, some cruise lines dock all the way out at the container port. So you have to take a 20-minute shuttle into town, which takes up that time in your day. It's not a very nice experience. So super convenient when you're cruising with Holland America to Alaska. And pound for pound, she is the most gorgeous ship you will find sailing out of Vancouver to Alaska this coming summer. She is absolutely stunning. Those beautiful open spaces, it has that classic feel, that classic Holland feel. The technology on board is mind-blowing. We have, for our main showroom, we have what we call the world stage. It's a 180-degree amphitheater style stage with this incredible LED screen technology. A really cool feature. The best lounge you'll find, show lounge you'll find out of Vancouver. There are other features that you might not even know about because there's so many other things that kind of take the top spot in terms of the headlines for these ships. We have a new feature you might not have experienced before, our Notes Scotch tasting, which is incredible. If you know your single malts, you can have a very fine evening at Notes, and this is right in kind of the middle of all the fun, all the action. Just across the way over your right shoulder would be the billboard on board, dueling pianos. Over your left shoulder, Rolling Stone Rock Room. So if one's playing, the other one takes a break, and then when that show's finished, then we move on to the next set for billboard on board. So you've got great musical entertainment throughout your time, spent at Notes. If you know your wine, if you're a wine lover, you will be very excited to see the Pinnacle Grill wine cellar on board. The Pinnacle Grill Pinnacle Grill, sorry, is our chop house. The Pinnacle Grill wine cellar is the most expansive on the Pinnacle Class ships. So it's very exciting to explore if you enjoy your wines, if you're a cork dork, as they say. I know many of our mariners are, and are very excited to explore this feature. Then we have a new restaurant on board this vessel and this style of ship that is not on that you would not have found, sorry, on board other Holland America ships if you'd sailed out of Vancouver to Alaska, because we hadn't had a Pinnacle Class ship there before. And that is Sel de Mer, Rue de Sel de Mer, our seafood brasserie. And that's a shot of the Lido market. I always like to show this because you might think, well, the Lido buffet, what's great about that? They're all the same. That's kind of cruise ship standard. It really isn't. It really isn't. With Holland America, it's much more relaxed. The tables are dressed with cloth napkins, silverware, glassware, for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It isn't hurried. You've got all those food stations. We don't have self-service. Other cruise lines that are scrambling to eliminate their self-service buffets to return to service, we didn't have to do that. We haven't had a self-service buffet for about 15 years. It just works perfectly. It's still casual, but without the chaos and the craziness. And you find all of those lounges on board Koningsdam sailing out of Alaska. She has the Rolling Stone Rock Room. I know in Northern Alberta, you love your classic rock. I know I certainly do. So that's what you'll find in the Rolling Stone Rock Room. This is a band that is being assembled by Rolling Stone magazine. They're playing that classic 60s, 70s rock. You know the type, the Eagles, Fleetwood Mac. You get the idea, classic pub rock. And they are another band that complements this whole music setup. So this is what you'll find on the Koningsdam, the Grand Dutch Cafe, a beautiful kind of classic Dutch coffee shop. This is our second coffee shop on board for Dutch crepes, teas, pastries, served on rolled earthenware, Dutch lagers. A beautiful spot. The dining room is always open and fresh and spacious. Lots of space, high ceilings. You're not cramped into a small main dining room that you'll find on some small ships. Much more spacious. So that's Alaska. Lots to look forward to. It's a great time to, if you are thinking about cruising next summer with friends or family, hopping over to Vancouver to get on a ship. It's a great time to do it this month because we have a super deal on Alaska right now. I'll touch on that in just a second. But just to close, there are other Alaska sailings that are longer. If you're looking to explore Alaska in more detail, up into Anchorage itself, there are 2 dates. Look out for these. Speak with the Expedia Cruises team. And out of the West Coast in general, you'll find deep explorations to the South Pacific. This is now also going to be on the Koningsdam for 2023, which is going to be super exciting. So that date you see on the right there, that has changed from Rotterdam to Koningsdam. So great opportunities out of the West Coast. You can explore, or sorry, you can enjoy that Koningsdam ship, but just take it out to Hawaii instead of Alaska every spring and fall. That's something that is super convenient. Again, just a hop, skip, and a jump. Get over to Vancouver, and you're on a fabulous new Pinnacle Class ship sailing out to Hawaii. You can even sail over to Japan, or fly over to Japan and return in and out of the West Coast. These are all options that we have because we have so many ships in Alaska, in the Pacific Northwest waters. In the winter and the spring and the fall, we're moving them back and forth. So great options there. And of course, the Panama Canal. Everyone loves the Panama Canal. The flora, the fauna, just sailing through those locks, just such an incredible experience. The ancient history, the ecology. We have sailings in the spring and the fall for the next 4 seasons ready to book. So if you're thinking about doing something longer, convenient, you want a bit of sunshine, variety, the food, the shore excursions, there's just so much with the Panama Canal. And then of course, Mexico. If you want to just be on the Koningsdam, but you want sunshine, her winter home is out of San Diego to Mexico. So in closing, wrapping up here, as I close out the morning, I do want to mention a great option for you when it comes to booking through Expedia Cruises. They can access something for you called Have It All. That means you can, of course, just book a regular cruise fare without any extras. But if you want to have shore excursion credits included, the beverage package, extra dining, specialty dining options included, and Wi-Fi included, they can add the Have It All package, which essentially is 50%. You pay 50% of what it would cost you to purchase these yourself on board. So you get these items at a 50% cost, and that is added to your fare. So it's called Have It All. So speak with your Expedia cruise consultant about Have It All. There's some other great deals as well. Just for October, running through to the end of the month, you can book a cruise and receive up to $150 shipboard credit. It's based on the length of itinerary and the type of room you select, but there's extra shipboard credits that combine with that Have It All packaging. And I mentioned there was also something special for Alaska, and that is if you book an Alaska cruise by the end of October, there's an extra credit for shore excursions. You get an additional $100 of shore excursion credits on top of Have It All. So you're going to be able to do an extra shore excursion on top of the ones we were already giving you the credit for as well. That combines with Have It All. So you book Have It All, and then you get that double amount of shore excursion credits. But most importantly, you're going to get the benefit of working through Expedia Cruises. This cannot be understated. As Lisa mentioned previously, they have access to benefits and amenities from not just Holland America, but from all of the cruise suppliers they work with, that they pass on to you. You're going to get a better deal working through them than you would working with us directly every time. That will include typically extras, in some cases lower rates. They pass that on to you. So you're going to get a great deal. And working with them not only means deals, it not only means their expertise, but also they are a real person in your community that you're working with. So that's something to feel good about. They are a phone call or an email away. They've got your back. Doesn't matter if you're already traveling and you need some assistance, or you're at home and you need extra help planning. You're not calling a call center, the other side of the country or further afield. It's someone local to you who you know and you have a relationship with. So that's the most important thing. So if you are interested in Alaska, reach out to them, and they can set you up with some great deals for next summer. I think that's it from me.
Thank you so much, Tom. Great options for Alaska, or even just West Coast for anybody who doesn't feel like traveling out of, too far or flying too far. I love the longer voyages that you have out to Tahiti. So I think that's absolutely fabulous. So thank you for sharing your wonderful product with us.
Wow.
For all of you who joined us, thank you. Thank you for your time. It really is, the time is now to start thinking of traveling. Pick a vacation for 2022, 2023, even 2024. As I've said numerous times, we have much to make up for, and it's very, very important that we enjoy ourselves. You know what? Life is short, and I think 2 years ago, none of us would have thought that we wouldn't be able to leave our country for 2 years. So let's look and plan for the future. Thank you for your time today. Thank you for your past travels with us. We look forward to planning your next vacation. We've had a few presenters on the last couple of days, but be aware that our World Explorer event covers a multitude of different cruise lines and land suppliers. So if it's not something we spoke about in the last 2 days or even tomorrow, please reach out to your consultant, whatever your vacation plans are. I'm sure we'll be able to help you and find you a fabulous trip. Please join us tomorrow, 7 p.m. We're going to have our third day of our world virtual event. We're going to be featuring Oceania cruises with Europe, Silver Sea with Galapagos and Antarctica, and also Royal Caribbean multi-generation. So thank you again for joining us. Have a wonderful day, and we hope to hear from you soon and help you plan your next dream vacation. Bye, everybody.
Bye.